Thank you for joining me at Security Champions Online. For some, this is a first, so it's very exciting, and we look forward to sharing a lot of information and engaging going forward. So I'm John McLaughlin, the J2 CEO. We founded J2 in 2006, and we're there to provide practical and real solutions for our customers. The idea is that security has been done the same way for far too long, and it's time for a change. We do this by partnering with our clients. So with that, we provide engaging content that assists them in working through a whole lot of risky areas. For example, our team has created a great password tool so people can check and engage and check how strong their passwords are. I mean, we all know still today that the most used password in the world is password, something that'll be leaked, that'll be cracked in less than 1 second. One of the other things that we forget to tell them is, with our people, is what about using something from a movie that you like? Show me the money. Great phrase, got upper and lowercase words. However, the problem is, in less than an hour, it can be broken. Throwing in a few alternatives here suddenly makes this a much more difficult thing for the automated attacker. It's something you'll remember, something that reminds you about a fun time within your life, and can capture all of the required details around complexity. This kind of thing really makes a difference within the business world. So as we head now into the short presentation, I think the key thing here is I want you to ask questions. I want you to engage after this event. Send them through, and we look forward to speaking a lot more. So if we jump into this, research, as you know, has shown anywhere between a 50 and 75% increase in attacks during the COVID-19 pandemic and ongoing. I think one of the key is, depending on which research program that you use, between 180 and 220 days to detect it, and roughly a month to 3 months in order to do this. I mean, one of the key things are there are billions being spent on security, yet breaches continue, and enterprises still have no idea how it's coming about during or after. What has been stolen? How was it taken? Are the users involved or aren't they? Were they tricked? Were they what was used? And this all comes about due to lack of visibility. We see organizations having limited visibility on a daily basis. And this is driven because of the way the world was. If you think about, and I can't judge for how old any of the people are on here, but there was a time when everything that was electronic and part of the business all sat within the environment. You walk down the corridors and into really big air-conditioned data centers with raised floors and ice-cold air conditioning and all of those items. So everything was locked down. At the end of the day, everyone went home. So everything remained network focused. And it made sense because that's where everything was. What we see, and the reason for that, and it's what's kept it, is that whenever we encounter issues at certain businesses, often the executives go, well, cyber, well, that's an IT issue. And the reality is, IT is not cybersecurity, and cybersecurity is not IT. There's a massive amount of overlaps, but it's not the same thing. And it needs to be addressed holistically in that way. When you look at it from purely an IT perspective, let's get the job done. Let's see what that one problem is and fix it. In this little picture on our right, we see there's a secure area, an area that needs to be secured at the bottom of this little road. So essentially what you do is you take that point solution, stick in a boom, and we're covered. We're now secure, right? Well, the reality is, without looking at things holistically, because we live in a hyper-connected world, absolutely everything interacts with everything else. All you're going to end up doing is deploying new technology for the sake of technology. The world has evolved. We now have applications and services sitting all over the world, sitting in various cloud operations. People were forced to go home. You have new networks. You have co-working in an unprecedented manner. You have people from different businesses, husbands, wives, partners, and children with educational things, sharing the same resources. The breaches will continue to escalate, and that's not going to change unless you widen your scope. We have to move away from legacy security. If we think that our world is one-sided, then we'll think we're winning and we'll think we're secure. But we only have a very small picture of what's really taking place. I mean, nowadays we see massive amounts of point solutions, whether it's numerous amounts of firewalls, DLP, EDR all over the place. You've got all these various systems, everything being pulled into things with like SIEM. However, we still have a massive blind spot, and that's user activity. Without knowing what's going on at the coalface, so to speak, with the people and systems and accounts that are interacting with all of these systems, we're going to continue to just be guessing. You just have to look around you, and every week there's a new breach. There's a new kind of breach. Things are being automated. Employees are being targeted. And we've seen a massive increase in people trying to cover up their online activities while they work from home. The true reality is, without visibility, we're going to be constantly guessing. And our trusted users are going to just carry on as they were or as they think is correct. And we will not even know there's a problem until it's too late. So our approach is that you need to start from the user. The user, their accounts, and that is what really interacts with the system. The user and the insider threat is the biggest risk to your business. They touch every system. They access every file. They're the ones that are sending and receiving emails. They're the ones who are interacting with your data, moving it from one system to another or one device to another, and utilizing the web to collaborate, share data, share information, and learn. However, the users are still left on their own. And at most organizations, there's a very, very weak cyber resilience program in place. Sure, there'll be policies, and we'll have great policies. So our policies state what we can and cannot do. There's vulnerability, there'll be vulnerability management, perhaps, maybe. That'll include patching. And how does this work when the user's not sitting at the desk where we can see them? This is one of the items where increased visibility helps. It's vital in every single cog of this. So email, another massive area of cyber risk. And that's because it's the most widely used system that holds business data. And normally it contains everything in the modern world, especially now with such a distributed workforce. So what we're seeing is that contracts are sent this way. Unfortunately, sometimes passwords as well. So contracts, there'll be personal information, there'll be credit card details, pricing, all of these items that move around using email. Then, of course, data. Data is the lifeblood of every single business. It's the competitive advantage. It's what we have to protect at all costs. However, with all the other factors that are accessing it, touching it, that have sight of it, without visibility, you're not going to know whether there's a compromise or potential compromise or where this hole is. You need to be looking for behaviors. You need to look for changes of patterns. You need to understand that there will be incidents. There will be issues. We must assume compromise. You then have machines, various machines located all over the world. They're the point of access to your data, utilized by your users. And they all run around on our information superhighway. The internet is the highway of the modern workplace. It's what enables access. It's what enables business. But at the same time, it holds inherent risk if not managed as part of your cyber resilience program. And one of the key aspects is starting at the user, ensuring that you're covering inside a threat. You need to look at creating a method of having workforce cyber intelligence. It's all good that I can access a specific tool, a group of data, batch of data. However, when I try and move it out, is that allowed? Is it correct? Is it in the normal process? And have I, as the business, done everything possible to firstly make me aware of what is and is not the correct way of doing things? And do I have that visibility to identify when something has gone wrong? We need to ensure resilience across all of these platforms, but in a single view, in a single place, pulling that into that single view, whether it's a SIEM that powers a managed detection and response service, or alternatively, you may just be looking at items and a way to help regulators understand that you have done all you can. How are you looking after the data that your people access? What about managed encryption? What about the end of life of that data? Do you forensically wipe data at the when it's no longer useful to you? Is this something which is simply shipped off or deleted, or do you recycle it? And if you recycle your machines, how do you ensure that that data is gone? Can you answer a regulator that nothing is lost on a machine with admissible and auditable trails? It's possible and it's available. The time for antivirus is gone. Endpoint protection has evolved, and this should include the ability to respond, isolate, remotely patch where necessary. The whole concept of being hyper-connected is that we then have the capability to identify the areas of risk, and not only identify, because it's great that someone tells you there's a problem. However, you need to remediate it, and quickly. When you start with who it is that's accessing and how, that user-centric approach gives that to you. It allows you to deploy engaging awareness training and awareness programs that not only improves the business's security, but your people's own interactions online. They don't work online in a bubble. Their personal lives also take place there. So it doesn't help if you're not educating and knowing where the risky areas are, if you provide access on your company equipment to publicly available free email services like Outlook.com or Gmail. So you build a very powerful cyber resilience for email platform around the business, but then someone gets breached because they don't know what they're doing when they're in their free email account. By empowering your staff, by engaging with them, we move away from blaming them for everything that goes wrong, because we know 90% of all breaches happen because of users, etc. We incorporate them into our defense plan, and we can expand outwards from there. I mean, we understand that this is a big, big, big area. And what we often see is that because cyber risk and cybersecurity is so big, people start talking about it, and then they realize there's another aspect. And then there's something else. And then they talk some more, and then we talk again. And then someone talks again, and then you talk again, and nothing happens until it's too late, and you're already the next big headline. You know, the key is we need to take action. We need to get stuff done. The world's evolved. The attackers are not slowing down, and talking doesn't help any of us. Here's an example of a small piece of content which I created, and this was to try and get the message across that someone could resonate with when it came to things like account takeover, or where people are sending phishing emails or demanding payments, etc. And I call this my email crud model. It's best to cut out the crud, right? So in this case, if something is sent to you and it's highly confidential and it mustn't be shared with anyone, or they ask for things like passwords or PINs or identity numbers, reputable businesses don't do that. If there's great riches, so there's an uncle who passed away in a European country, he's got the same name, you've never met him, but they're going to give you millions. All you need to do is pay a small facilitation fee. When it seems too good to be true, it really is. If it's urgent, so you must act right now. You must do this now. The payment is now. You will be cut off now. Your password will be stopped. Your account will be closed. It doesn't take you long to verify. If someone's asking you to change something very quickly or needs to be done right now, take a few extra seconds and use that other piece of old technology, perhaps, called the telephone. Verify the information before you move on. And if it's something to download, well, if you must go somewhere to download a payment advice or an invoice that's on some other hosted platform that you never normally use, especially from an unknown person, don't click on the link. Just don't. Nobody wants to become a victim of cybercrime. So as I hand out my J1 top tips and quotes for today, thank you again for the time. And these are some of the takeaways that I hope we've managed to discuss here, and I'd love to talk about in more detail. We cannot continue to defend in the same way and expect different results. And while your insiders and your trusted people are the biggest risk and they're responsible for the most attacks, stop blaming them. Let's empower them. And we do that by understanding what takes place and then helping fix it. You cannot protect what you cannot see. It's a very, very simple item. Understand there's no one-stop solution. There is no silver bullet. You must assume compromise. Something will break. But with visibility, at least then you can immediately see it, you can detect it, and you can remediate. So because the world has evolved, so should your security and your security provider. The days of a security provider saying, we will do X and Y should be gone. As the business evolves, as the requirements evolve, as these change, so should the service received from your security provider. Get started, because even the smallest step will bring about very good improvements. Lots of little steps will make lots of larger improvements in time. Visibility gives you the capability to respond. If you don't have complete and total visibility from the user across the environments, the way you interact into your cloud environments, how will you ever know that something's wrong and you need to respond now? So please, let's keep the conversation going. Enjoy the rest of your time here. Connect with me. Ask questions. Share my videos. And I look forward to speaking to you again. This has been fun. And I look forward to answering any of your questions.